Welcome to What's the Word? I'm your host, Jamie McFadden, and I'm so excited to have you here. This podcast is about all things wellness. Each week, we will focus on a word of the day, and I interview some of the most inspirational people I know and share that inspiration with you. Join me, let's learn together on What's the Word.
This is the place where I belong.
Hi, and welcome back to What's the Word? I'm your host, Jamie McFadden, and today we are going to focus on one of my favorite words with one of my favorite humans. She's also one of Hollywood's most sought-after healthy living coaches with over 30 years of experience. She's the founder and president of the Hollywood Trainer Club, which is a virtual online healthy living club. She works with incredible celebrities such as Pink, Journey Smollett, and Alicia Keys, just to name a few. And you may also recognize her from Pop Sugar, where she has over 100 million views. She also has over 1.5 million followers across her social media, where she delivers some of the highest quality, best, joyful content that you could find that will put a smile on your face and inspire you daily. Not to mention, she is one of my dear friends and mentors in this field who inspires me every day of my life. She chose the word joy today, which means feelings of pleasure and happiness. And that is exactly what you will feel when you see her, when you hear her. And she radiates that every day of her life, every time we're together. She's a ray of sunshine, a light to this world, and a true game changer. And I could genuinely go on and on about her for this 30-minute episode. But instead of doing that, I am going to get her on here. So please, with no further ado, I'm going to welcome the incredible Miss Jeanette Jenkins. Hi, JJ.
Hi, Jane. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate you being on here. And we're just going to dive right in. You chose the word joy, and that talks about happiness and feelings of great pleasure. What does joy mean to you, and how does it fit into your life?
Well, actually, I cultivate joy on purpose. And the reason I chose the word joy is because through this journey of health and wellness, I realized that many people don't recognize how powerful they are and that they can actually cultivate joy into their lives. Many of us walk around through life reacting to things that happen to us. And then we let those things that happen to us predict how we're going to feel or where our emotions are going to be for the day. And the moment that I realized, kind of like more so in the middle of my career, definitely wasn't at the beginning. I mean, I was always a joyful person, but when I really, really recognized my power, it was through a lot of self-work and therapy and understanding that, you know, a lot of the pain and unhappiness that we experience is a product of our own mind. Is that we experience something, and instead of it being a bad 5 minutes, it turns into a bad day and a bad week and a bad month, because we'll repeat that painful experience over and over again. We'll talk about it to our friends and our family, and before you know it, we've taken one little small thing that was just one bad experience, and instead of taking that moment and learning from it and trying to, you know, improve our situation, we relive it over and over. So I just really wanted to talk about joy because I still think today, and you probably experience that too with clients and students and followers, that many times people think that they're a victim of situations and a circumstance, and you can really champion yourself out of most situations and cultivate your own joy on a daily basis, no matter what's happening in your life.
Absolutely. I love that you chose this word. And, you know, this is a time in the world where many people are feeling added stress. We've been going through, 2 years pretty much of this global pandemic, and whatever it may be, you just said we have a choice to either be kind of a victim or the victor by choosing this joy. Do you have any tangible action steps that if someone's listening or watching right now, of how to start to cultivate that joy? Like, where do we dig for that?
Yeah, first is to plan out your days, like schedule your life on purpose. So right off the bat, it's like the things that you're going to do on a daily basis you should know what those are tied to. Are they purposeful things that you enjoy to do? Or are you just like clocking in, waking up, having your coffee and doing a 9 to 5 to make money with no emotion attached to it, with no intention of something that you want to gain or give to the world? All those things matter to how you feel moment to moment, right? And so I would start with people just grounding into, okay, in the simplest form, start writing a list of the things that make you happy, that you enjoy doing. So, right off the top of that list, I would know that health, that training would be something that I would go into as a career, because exercise, fitness, and sport are all at the top of that list of things that make me happy. So, we've been told many times by many very successful people, find what you love to do and then find a way to offer it to millions, right? So right off the top, I would tell people, make a joy list. Make a list of all the things that you love to do, from simple to complex. It could be as simple as listening to music, taking a hot bath, exercising, fitness, doing your hair, doing your makeup. Maybe you hate doing those kinds of things, but maybe you love them. Helping other people in whatever those ways are, cooking, or like, what are some things that would be on your joy list
I
that
love
you love?
this. Yeah. I mean, for me, you named a lot of them. Listening to music. I love reading, writing, exercise. Like the number one thing I would say is moving my body makes me feel really good. Even
Then
sometimes
there's the
resting, being with my daughter,
resting,
being with
the artistic
family.
things too, like very creative people, they love painting and
Yeah.
writing, and like whether they're just journaling or being creative and writing a novel, or just writing, creative
Right.
writing. The list is endless. Then there's the people who love more arts type of people. I have friends that love crafting and creating t-shirts and designing new things, home decor, right? I absolutely love creating that nice warm space that I can come home to. So
Yeah.
home decor, spending time with friends, spending time alone, but start making that list of like all the things that you enjoy to do. And then that is at least a place that you can start to, or go back to, that these things should be included in your daily life of, to make sure, like, okay, I get that there's some people that are in a profession that they don't love, okay, and they're doing it just to pay the bills. And so if you're in that case, then you specifically need to make sure, okay, when my 9 to 5 is over, what am I doing after 5 o'clock to make sure I'm filling my joy cup? And even while I'm in it, even while you are being productive and working on anything, there still is a frame of mind that you can have to being grateful, that is always going to help you feel good in the experience. Because work is hard no matter what it is, even if it's work that we love to do. Like if we're producing and making a new like this, a new podcast, or making a new video, it's not easy work. You still have to do all the work that goes into it, but you can be in a place of gratitude. For anyone can be like, they're grateful they have a job. They can be grateful. So there's also that element of gratitude. It's a perspective that you have, that you carry through your whole day in everything that you do. So do you want to be the person, if you choose to be complaining about everything that you have to do, then that's what you're going to live in.
Yeah.
So that would be like the next step. So after making that joy list, the one thing, the next thing I would definitely recommend for everyone is to think about their perspective on how they approach everything they do throughout the day. And one of the most powerful things that many people don't realize is that whatever perspective you choose, you then have to live in it. You have to mentally and physically live in whatever that perspective is. So if you choose to look at your job as like, oh, I hate my job, this sucks, I don't want to do this, then that's what you have to live in. And what does that feel like? how does that feel? It doesn't feel good. Versus saying, oh, I'm so grateful I have a job. There's like millions of people that are out of work right now. What a blessing that I have this. I'm going to work really hard. So while I'm in this job, I can either get a promotion or start to figure out my next steps of how I'm going to start my own business on the side. So that feels a lot better than the feeling of the perspective of complaining. So I think that is also a huge element that gets missed many times, is that even and in a reaction to anything, right? It's like how you choose to react to something. If you want to choose an emotion of anger or, you know, or even when it comes to self, right?
Yeah.
We have all of these people who self-criticize and put themselves down all the time. Okay. Well, what does that feel like? It doesn't feel good, does it? No. So it feels so much better to be proud of yourself and to love yourself and to say, you know what? I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing a great job. And I got these couple of things done on my hit list, and we're going to move on to this tomorrow. But I'm really proud of myself. You know, like that's a completely different feeling than, oh, I can't believe, I'm
not good enough. Oh yeah. I just had a client right before this call, and I have to tap into it because it's exactly what you're saying, who said to me openly, and she's, high power woman. She's got so many things going for her. And she does the self-sabotaging that a lot of us do, where it's that choice of, feeling like you're good enough or you're not, or having that self-worth. So hearing you say, and it reminds me of, it's almost like when we train in the gym. If you're just starting out, you got to learn the foundations, the base. You do that for a long time until you really feel comfortable and confident. Then you move up in the weights, with everything else. I feel like practicing cultivating joy can be similar to that, or the gratitude practice, like you're saying.
Yes.
Start small, right? Like little things.
100%. And with the self-talk, that is something that, many people, they've never learned in school. It's something that is usually attached to how you were raised. Like the children usually start to mirror what their parents do. And so if your parent or your mother or father was someone that displayed that behavior of constantly self-criticizing, then you'll be probably doing the same thing, just because it was a learned behavior. Right. So you have to teach yourself the behavior of like, okay, I'm going to lift myself up. I'm going to speak positive words of affirmation. I'm going to speak positive words of intention into the universe. And I'm going to feel this. I'm going to let this resonate into me, because it's more powerful. Like it's much more powerful to start the day with your intention of, God, I'm going to hit this ground running. I'm going to put in 110% and I'm going to do a great job, versus, I'm too fat. I've gained 10 pounds and I feel like crap. And you know what I mean? And no one's going to love me. And it's like, it's a mindset that you have to choose which one is going to be. And one, you can put yourself down, which is just going to make it harder for everything else that you do. Or you can lift yourself up, and it is a form of joy, because in that self-love moment, that the self-love practice of constantly making yourself be joyful, intentional. I call it cultivating joy, intentional, positive, or also intentional positivity. Like you can't lead a joyful life with a negative mindset. It's absolutely impossible. So if you want to be happy, but you constantly have the habit of being a negative person, saying negative things, criticizing yourself, criticizing others, you're choosing to live in that negativity by choosing that behavior. So it is something that we have to learn and that we have to practice over and over. And even with my social media, it was an intention. I literally set that intention when I started social media 8-9 years ago. When we started, I said, I will never post anything negative. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely refuse, because I don't want to put that kind of energy into the universe.
Mm-hmm. And
It's
you
really
don't.
that
You
simple.
you put the most. I mean, every time, Jeanette, before meeting you, and that I don't even remember how many years ago that was now with Kenta and Kendall, but the whole crew. It's like you are just radiating joy every day. You bring sunshine. You work so hard. You just talked about waking up in the morning, and to everyone listening or watching, Jeanette brings not 100%. She brings 110% to every single thing she does, and it's no surprise you are who you are, and you are someone that inspires so many people every day to live honestly better, to work on themselves, to look deep, to, if there's the shadow, do the work, put the time in, put
Yeah.
the energy in, because you are someone that has consistently inspired me through, from before I knew you to every day of my life now. I could look at your post. You put one the other day that was just about, think about the people that remind you of sunshine, right? Like, it's a simple, you put sometimes these simple things, and it's like, it just brings the biggest smile, and that is contagious. And
Well,
then,
sometimes we just
yeah,
need that spark,
yes,
right? Sometimes we
yes.
just need that spark to give us a redirection as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Or many people
Yeah, well,
need it.
and you brought up something that also reminds me to talk about this, because I think a lot of this element of joy can come from support as well, right? The people that you're around, the energy that you're surrounding yourself with. What would you say about, for someone listening right now that's like, "Ooh, I love this. I'm getting something. Where do I start? What should I do?" I feel like there's a lot of things that we can think about with support, right? Like the
Yeah,
crew that we're with.
all of it is on purpose. The support, like, and I talking about support, like,
Mhm.
I've been myself in relationships that were very detrimental to my health, and I had to make a decision, like, do I want to be happy? Do I want to be healthy? Well, this isn't the position for me to be in then.
Right.
And so I know it's not hard. I know it's not easy, is what I'm trying to say to people. So it but those are usually the relationships that have the biggest effect
Yeah.
on your
Yeah.
health and your heart. So if you're in um a relationship where you feel like you cannot cultivate joy, like it's toxic type of
Hmm.
situation, go get help, go get
Yeah.
therapy. And you guys, whatever relationship that is, it could be a love relationship, it could be a business relationship, it could be a
Right.
friendship. But if you cannot work to a place that's healthy and positive, then yeah, you'll have to set boundaries. You have to set boundaries to protect your peace and your joy. So
Hmm.
you can't be in a joyful place if you're just even fighting for air,
Yeah.
and fighting for just a place of peace. Like, you got to have
Yeah.
peace first just to even get to the joy.
I
But
love
then,
that.
you know what
It's
I'm
true.
saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, and then on purpose,
Hmm.
like, no one's perfect. That's first of all. So, like, all your friends and family members, no one is absolutely perfect. Like, if you think that you're going to separate yourself from everyone that isn't, you know, adding positivity to your life, you're going to be on a lonely island.
Hmm.
But it's a matter of monitoring the
Yeah.
time. And it's like, when you're in a situation where you feel like is toxic and it's not adding positivity, you can take a step back and then assess the situation. And it might be your fault. It might not
Right.
even be the other person. You might take a step back and and realize, oh, wow, this situation became toxic because of me. So I need to,
Hmm.
like, look at my behavior. And then the same, it's like, you have to be able, but you can't even assess a situation if you don't pull yourself back. So give
Yeah.
yourself the grace to say, like, when it comes to forming your community, that yes, we love to form a community that has a lot of positive, uplifting people, but no one's perfect all the time. So you're never going
Hmm.
to find that one friend that's, like, always, because you have
Right.
to admit, come on, I know you gave me those compliments, but I can also be tough and rough Jeanette as well, and hard love Jeanette. I'm not always Mrs. Sunshine. Sometimes I'm gonna come on through and tell you like it is, and that might not feel joyous to you, and you might not need to be like, okay, Jeanette, that's enough for today. Like,
I'm like,
we'll
you
get
kicked
back
my
to the
butt
joy.
enough today.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm trying to say is
Of
just that you
course.
have to protect your own personal peace, and so if you're in one of those situations where you're in an environment that is toxic and you can't cultivate joy, then separate yourself away, and that's a moment where you be like, maybe I'll just go do a workout by myself, and this will
Yeah.
help bring back the joy. Or maybe I'll go take a walk on the beach and listen to one of my favorite like playlists or audiobooks and bring back the joy, because I think it's also important. I feel like in today's like cancel culture and
Right.
all this, that it's important for people to realize that we as humans, we got to learn how to live with each other.
Right.
Like, so you can't just be going around canceling everybody.
No, it's
Like,
true.
the goal
Right
is to be
now.
able to come back to the table with
Right.
people who are willing to come back to the table to be better humans.
Right. And
So
that,
it's like,
yeah.
so it's like, but we have to do our part as well in taking response. Like, you can't put your joy, your joy
Mhm.
is not the responsibility of your friends in your community.
Yes.
It's your responsibility. So, it's great if you can have people that you love to do great things with, but there's sometimes a time limit in that where you're like, okay, I
Mhm.
can spend an hour or a couple hours with this person, but then, I need to step out and, then have my alone time. And it's the
Yeah.
same with work. Like, that's why we have to put limits on work as well. Like,
Yeah.
when that 5 o'clock hits, whether you're an entrepreneur, like, shut it off and go spend time with your kids and your family. Like, it's okay if the work carries over to the next day, and it's
Yeah.
okay to silence your employer as well and
Mhm.
be like, okay, you're going to get back to them tomorrow at 9 a.m. But all these things are really important so that you can protect your peace, so that you
Mhm.
can then do things that bring you joy.
Yes. This is so, everything you're saying is just so profound and at the same time so easy to understand and grasp, because really think about it, for anyone listening, you need to have that sense of peace. Jeanette just talked about something where whether you've ever been in a, toxic relationship or situation, or you're in a job that you don't really love and doesn't bring you joy, you've got to find a way to get that peace, because if you don't have that peace, how are you going to get the joy? And so you just brought up so many good points. And in today's world, where there's more stress, more pressure, the cancel culture of the great divide and all these other things, having a sense of peace is, oof,
And
like,
media overload. Like,
oh,
we have more
yeah,
media than ever before, and one of the biggest issues we have is people learning how to think critically, like,
yeah.
not to be able to just devour all this massive
Mhm.
amounts of information where some of it's valid, some of it's not
Right.
valid, some of it's proven, some of it's not proven, and just be
Mhm.
able to just like, okay.
Yeah,
Like, you
quiet
got
the
to have
noise.
limits on all this stuff. Yeah, quiet all the noise, so then
Yeah.
exactly. And then you can do things that really bring you joy. But if you're constantly submerged into it, and to understand that, with many of these things, it's addictive as well. Like, social
Yeah,
media as is very addictive. And
totally.
so you have to be able to set time frames and time limits of how much of it you're going to consume, because it 100% will affect your mood, your spirit. So, there's little things you can do, like make sure, like I said, in the morning, that you're setting your intention and doing
Mhm.
some things right at the beginning of the day that bring you joy. Like, for me, I a lot of times do my social media first thing in the morning, because I
Right.
want to give. So from
Yeah.
my perspective, like, every person who handles social media, they do it in a different way. So I'm not just going to regurgitate what everyone else says. I know there's some gurus that say, "Oh, don't touch your phone until you've done your meditation," and all this stuff. And that's wonderful if that is what works for you. From my
Right.
perspective, I'm starting my day as a giver. I want to give you
Mhm.
either a positive quote, or I want to give you a new workout to do. So for me, it's a positive moment on social media,
Right.
because I'm not going on there to scroll. I'm going on there
Mhm.
to give people who follow me something positive that they can take into their day. And then, I'll communicate with the people who are on my page, and then off I go to the rest of my day. My no time day is the evening. So
Yeah.
no social media, because I don't want anything disrupting my mind when it's
Right.
time for me to bring it down to go to sleep.
Yeah.
What
I,
about you? Do you have a social
I'm
media practice?
100%. I have timers and limits on all that as well. And I think scheduling it, I believe that there's a really beautiful freedom through discipline, right? And through the years, I've learned that more and more in school and everything else, being a mother, the more that we can kind of plan things out and map things out with the intention, right? The purpose behind it,
Mm-hmm.
the more that we can actually kind of lead by example and do the things that we set out to do. So when it comes to, just like you said, I remember I worked with a business coach, someone that I love dearly, and he told me, he said, until you meditate, until you write your gratitude practice and all these 5 things, he's like, do not go on your phone. And I was like, listen, bud, my daughter wakes up at 7 a.m. If I'm up at 5, I got to knock all that shit out. Like, that's my
Yeah,
time to be focused and driven and give that stuff, just like you're saying. Whereas
right.
at night, I don't want to be with Sophia on the phone. I
No,
want to be
no.
chilling. I want to be present. I want to be with her. And so I think for anyone listening, not to say what one of my business coaches said is incorrect, but I think what Jeanette and I are both saying is start to look inside of yourself. Define for
Yeah.
yourself, what does that peace look like for you? And how does it fit into your world today? You have to think about, if you're trying to cultivate joy. I could tell you right now, and I know Jeanette, you probably see this too, many people are hurting. Mental health issue is higher than it's ever been before. Medication and prescription is being thrown out left and right because people don't know how to handle their mind, and they're not taking care of themselves because they're so stressed out they don't even know where to begin. We got to take a moment and, like Jeanette said, take a pause to really reflect for yourself, what is it that you need? And I advise and encourage all of you today listening, do that. Like, take a moment for yourself to think about, what do I need to cultivate peace so that I
If I was going to
can?
give one
Yeah.
simple takeaway,
Yes.
no matter what, you write your joy list. And if there was just the simplest thing that you did every week is in your calendar, the same
Mhm.
calendar you do to write your appointments and your work and all of your schedule, write out a time slot where you're going to cultivate joy in that time slot. It's something off that list. So
Yeah.
Monday, it might be your Monday morning yoga. Tuesday, it
Mhm.
might be an afternoon walk in nature. Wednesday, it might be, a Zoom call with your girlfriends having a drink.
Yeah.
Thursday, it might be a therapy session that might be
Mhm.
joyous for you,
Mhm.
or it could be, going an outdoor sport. We're about to get
Mhm.
into the winter season, so like skiing, snowboarding, all those type of things. Then Friday, it could be again going and doing one of our online workouts. As we know, I'm always encouraging people to have exercise on their joy list, obviously, because of all the incredible benefits that we get in hormonal, the improvement in your hormonal regulation, the boost of the endorphins. So the improvement in your circulation, like we
Mhm.
know from experience and from research that if people can get moving for like 10 to 15 minutes, they're going to feel so much better. And it's also normal. So that is the simple takeaway, is on your joy list, just do one thing every day, and then at least you will be purposely cultivating some joy every day.
Yeah. Yes. I love that. And I schedule mine in sometimes too, because my schedule can get really busy. And I'm sure, like with you, your schedule gets busy. And now I don't really have to necessarily schedule it in because it's already a behavioral pattern that I've created. And I think that for anyone listening, that's what Jeanette's talking about, is that we got to schedule it in, just like your important business meeting, just like
Mm-hmm.
that deadline that you have at work. Because if you don't, the next week's going to go by and oops, I forgot to do it. Oops,
And
I'll try it next week.
the bigger picture takeaway, where you can choose to live in a joyous mindset
Mhm.
all the time, is every time something happens to you or you're going through life, is to ask yourself a couple of questions. The first would be, was it a bad 5 minutes? Or was it really that bad that I'm gonna need to extend this past the 5 minutes that it happens and make it like a whole day drama? Or the other question is, how can I turn this around? It's like the old quote, like, how do you turn lemons into lemonade? Like, no matter what challenge is coming your way, how can you flip it to create a solution? A solution that is going to bring you to a happy, joyous place, because you have to live in it. And remember, you're making this decision because you want to live in the space that feels good. So when it's as simple as, like, I've literally had somebody hit me in a car accident, and I'm like, okay, Jeanette, chill. You got insurance, no problem. Just make sure the person's okay. And where I've come out of the car and been like, it's all right, let's just get our information. And then where the other person in the accident is like crying, they're like, I can't believe you're so nice. And I was just like, because what am I gonna do? Like, I'm not going to live, I'm not gonna go into hysterics and and make everybody live in a place of negativity for what? Like, because then I got to live in that too, So it's just understanding that you choose your response, you choose your perspective to every moment that you live in life. And when you choose that perspective, you then have to live in it. So don't ever forget that. So if you want to live in something that feels warm and loving and sunny and giving, you can create that sunshine. It's your choice. You never have to stay in that mindset that's dark and negative.
Yeah. Yes. And it makes me think about, and I wanted to ask you this because you inspire so many, and I'm just curious. I always like to know, like, for me in my life, my mother always has inspired me because she always allowed me to be me and believed in me and all those things, right? And so she's been a ray of sunshine in my personal world. Is there someone in your life that's inspired you similar in that way to just bring your joy, to shine your
Honestly,
light?
my inspiration comes from my own conflict resolution. So it's like every time I hit a conflict, it's the challenge of, how can I do this better this time? It's really the most inspiring thing to me is, how can I raise to a higher level? How can I vibrate higher so I can make everyone and everything around me better? So it's like, if I'm working on a project with a group of people and we hit a conflict, it's like, okay, how can I handle this so that we can all walk away in a loving, positive space? So honestly, that's probably where, and the same is in the content that I create for other people. That's what I'm inspired by. I'm inspired to always try to give people something else that's going to help them improve the quality of their life. I just did a boot camp that was 30 minutes a day. For me personally, I don't enjoy working out 30 minutes a day. When I start working out, I want to do like 60, 75 minutes, right? But I'm an athlete. So it's like, as an athlete, 30 minutes feels like a warm up to me. Right. And so I want to really like get into it. So did I still do it? Yes, because it wasn't about me. I was thinking of all the mothers and people who are really tight on time that don't exercise all the time, where 30 minutes is like a game changer for them.
Right.
And so I was like, Jeanette, do this challenge and give these people 30 minutes workouts so they can feel like complete. So I'm inspired by basically serving people and serving the universe more positive energy. Like, I realize that we are constantly in this place of there's a lot of negativity in the world. And I feel like I'm one of the light keepers, I'm one of the people that you can count on that are going to put positive energy into the universe. And those people who get it understand that, like, when that positive energy builds and you have multiple people and multiple companies and multiple, groups adding into this positive energy, it makes a huge effect on people. And so I always want to be part of that higher vibration. I never want to be part of something that is going to pull people down or make them feel bad about themselves or make them feel. And actually, that's another reason why I removed the word weight loss from my healthy living club, is because I understand by being in this industry that many people don't understand what weight is consumed of, that it's your body fat, it's your muscle, it's your bones, it's your connective tissue, it's your water, like you're 60 to 70% water. So that's why I was like, well, our goal really should never be specifically weight loss. It should be changing our body composition.
Right.
And unfortunately, like when a health and wellness expert talks about weight loss, they're thinking about the entire body composition. Right. They're thinking, well, we want to make sure they have, lean muscle mass and decrease in body fat. But when the lay person at home is thinking weight loss, they're just like, they just want to get on the scale and have 10 pounds go down. And if that 10 pounds doesn't go down, then their whole world is shook. And they don't understand that, no, you gained weight because you're on your period. It's completely normal.
There's so much more to it than the scale.
Yeah. Or you had sodium in your last meal, so you're holding on to 5 pounds of water. It's fine.
Totally.
So, you know what I mean? So that's why I was like, okay, I just wanted to be focused. I changed my club to just healthy living because I want people to realize it's a journey as well. And I also changed there was a part of a point in my career where I stopped with the before and after pictures, because I think that's wonderful if someone has, any kind of transformation that they want to celebrate. But when the transformation is done, they still have to live life.
Yes.
So it's like this healthy living thing, you got to keep doing it even after the after picture, honey. So it's that's it. Yeah. So I don't want people to feel bad that it's like, okay. And a lot of times transformation happens in the mind, and it happens in the hormones, and it happens in places that don't show up in a photograph, like when you get to the age where women are going through menopause, and also I've had so many people experience hormonal issues, obviously, so from hypothyroidism to Hashimoto's and so many other things, that you realize, there's so many incredible benefits of exercise, from obviously the decrease in risk of heart disease, which still for me doesn't get talked about enough. It's like heart disease is the number one killer.
Yeah.
So can we just exercise to stay alive, please?
I know, please, everyone, please exercise today. Move your body some way.
And then exercise also is the only thing that increases new brain cell growth, and the helping and regulating the hormones, the decreased risk in diabetes, the help in just your mental health so that you feel good and there's less risk of you being depressed. So all these things I want to focus on more. And that's why I changed my club name to Healthy Living, because I just think that, we need to continue to reiterate that, you exercise should be part of your everyday life, just like brushing your teeth. It's like you're cleaning out your internal organs,
Yes. Oh,
so
and so now, can anyone join your club?
Is it does bring you joy. My club's only $20 a month.
$20 a month. We're going to have all the links attached. So please be sure to check out her club, her workout. I've worked out with her multiple times. They are my favorite workouts, and she does all modalities. She will kick your booty, but she also gives variation. So there's, ways that you can step it up or ways you can take it down a notch if you need to.
But the greatest full circle of it all is that exercise is one of the best things for your mental health and to help cultivate joy. So I have no problem talking about it to try to increase or get more people to look at exercise from a different perspective, because it's amazing, especially when you're young. Most people get into fitness because they want to change what their body looks like. They want to get leaner and have more tone in their muscles. And they're not exercising for other benefits. That's what they want to achieve. And so a lot of times, sometimes it can get to a point where it's negative if they're not enjoying themselves and they're not doing things that they enjoy to do. And they're not approaching fitness with a perspective of like, I'm getting all these other incredible benefits out of it, you know?
Yeah. No.
Like you see them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see the girls at the gym. You can totally see the perspective of someone who's exercising just because they want to change their body versus someone who's exercising because they love the way it makes them feel.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a total different type of mindset.
Totally,
anyway,
100%.
I'm done, girl.
Well, I love you, JJ. And is there anything else, because we're jumping off right now, but is there anything else that you want to leave our listeners with to take with them home today? Because obviously there's so many things that you give so much every day. So many. But is there just one thing, as we wrap this up with a little bow, that you could send them away
I would say if they're going through a tough time, at any point where you're feeling challenged, and you want to tap back into your happiness and your joy, just go ahead and step away, take a little piece of paper or grab out your phone in your notes section and just write out 5 to 10 things that you're grateful for. And as you write your gratitude list, you'll start to feel your cells change. Each item you write down, like I'm happy, I'm grateful for my children, I'm grateful for my health, I'm grateful for the sun shining on my skin. I'm grateful for having a roof over my head and clean water. I'm grateful for a job. Like as you start to write down those things that you're grateful for, then the happiness and joy will start to come back to you. So that's just like a simple gratitude list that is really easy to do anytime you're feeling like the world is against you.
I love that. I make gratitude lists all the time. I love it. JJ, thank you so much for taking the time today. For everyone that's listening and watching, be sure to check this out and check out JJ's website, which will be linked to everything. Please be sure to follow her if you don't already for daily inspiration. She is sensational. JJ, thank you so much for bringing the joy. Love you, girl.
Thank you for joining me here at What's the Word. Follow us on social media with the links on the screen, and don't forget to like and share with your friend. Your support helps us grow and continue to make inspirational content. See you next time on What's the Word.